Hey, everybody, it's a Tuesday night. I'm at the Harrison Theater on Corbett Street, the Poduty Live Podcast Theater. Special guest, Jeff Dwoskin, hashtag Roundup, Classic Conversations. I've got just one question for you, Jeff. You know what time it is?
Yeah, it's time we stop pretending we don't know what time it is.
What time is it? What time is it? It's time for Poduty and the news. Poduty and the news. The only live news podcast about podcasting from the stage. Poduty and the news. Poduty and the news. The only live news podcast about podcasting from the stage.
Oh, the only live news podcast about podcasting from the stage. Jeff Dwoskin, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be here. Way to create your own niche. It's like, what can I be number one? Mine's the best. Mine's the number one podcast of podcasts listened to on Tuesdays between 3 and 4 p.m. With only one earbud. So we were, no, if you go to the Apple charts, you'll see Classic Conversations. It's always number
true.
one.
I want to dominate somewhere. So it's the only live news podcast about podcasting from the stage on Tuesday nights in downtown Torrento, Pennsylvania. We can't be beat because there's literally no other business open in this town tonight right now. I'm the only thing with the lights on in the front.
Well, I'm excited to be on the only live newscast about podcasting.
Maybe there's a reason why.
It's a bucket. Hang give me a second. What time is it? It's time to check something off my bucket list. That's what time it is. Wow. Here we go.
It's like Stroh's is America's only fire brewed beer, or wood fired beer. Maybe there's a reason for that, Stroh's.
I was just in Detroit this weekend outside the old Stroh's ice cream building. It's now a brewery, but yeah. So
not too bad. I guess they're doing something right. We just don't understand it. It's the only live news podcast talking about domestic beer.
The only live news podcast about podcasting with Jeff and Jeff.
All the Jeffs. I was going to do one of those. Everyone's betting on things now. The prop bets and those markets where you can just pick things. I was going to do a bet. Will both Jeffs have brushed their teeth?
I did just before because I knew you'd ask me. I'm brushing my teeth because I know Jeff is going to ask me if I brush my teeth. I want to be able to say yes in good conscience.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. And when we go back to your podcast, our Classic Conversations, it is like, for me, I'm turning 50 this year, and the guests that you're having on this show were so influential in my childhood, and you're interviewing all these great TV stars, movie stars from that time period when I was growing up. And tell us a little bit about Classic Conversations. What can people expect when they tune in?
Well, that's exactly, you kind of nailed what's the phrase? Hit the hammer on the head there with the podcast. That's what it is to me too. It's being able to talk to people who I watched on TV growing up. It's kind of a thrill. I hope when people watch or listen that, it's kind of like they have the same kind of passion that I do about the entertainment and those people and those characters. And I'm just filling in, talking to the guest on all of my guests, my listeners' behalf. That's what I kind of hope the vibe is. It's like I'm speaking for everyone and then and making it happen type thing.
Yeah, asking all the questions I would have wanted to know, 30, 40 years ago. Here you are sitting down with them, going through some of those, those old time production stories and the making of stories and some of the behind the scenes stuff. It's just tremendous conversation.
So my biggest thrill, I've always said, like, people ask, like, I had people on the Love Boat, Gopher Isaac, and Doc, and, Happy Days, Potsy, Ralph Malph, Mrs. C. And then last December, I got the opportunity, the Love Boat, Isaac, Gopher, and Julie, Jill Whelan, they all they're doing a Love Boat. It's not really a rewatch, but they bring people on that guested on the Love Boat, and they talk about their time on the Love Boat. And they reached out to me. Their people reached out to me and they're like, "Would you like to have all three on together?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, I was like, "That's like a dream come true." And when I was talking, Fred Grandy, Gopher, who I had interviewed previously, he's like, and you can listen to this. my wife even says I'm not crazy. He's like, Jeff, after our interview, you kind of helped spark this idea for this podcast. And I'm like, how cool is that? Like, I interviewed Gopher, and then I end up inspiring or helping to push forward an idea for a podcast and a show I grew up watching, and why I enjoyed being with them in the first place. I mean, it's like, it was a cool moment. I played it for my wife because she would go, "No, Jeff, that's not what just happened." And but even she was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool."
Yeah, it's like a lot of times when I listen to the show, I think about those moments. Like, could you imagine yourself 1985 watching Love Boat, and then 30 years later you're going to influence a spin-off podcast about it? Not that you would know what a podcast was in 1985, but that you would have some sort of, even just to be able to talk to those people back in 1985 was so far removed from us. So, celebrities were something that were untouchable. You couldn't just walk in and talk to a celebrity. And with technology today and what you're building, you're able to have those conversations with people we thought were untouchable 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of, it's wild and a little surreal. You can kind of see in my background, I have all these 8x10. So and it goes all the way around my office. And growing up, I mean, in the last 10 or so years specifically, like going to Comic-Cons has like been like my thing. So meeting these people. So when I finally realized, they'll talk to me, it was quite. And then it's fun going to Comic-Cons and meeting people in person that I had on the show. So that's always kind of a thrill as well. So yeah, I love it. Love it.
I'll put the link in the show notes. Classic Conversations, Jeff Dwoskin. You can see there's at least how many episodes are total?
411 as of right now.
Wow. Yeah, 411 episodes of what we were just talking about. Go back through and check the archives there. It's really an incredible production.
Yeah, when I kind of look back on it, I'm like, I'm impressed by myself. It's, I do it all myself, so it's like, it's pretty.
It's a one-man show. It's a one-man theater. We got a one-man show with Jeff Dwoskin.
Yeah, it's all good.
You're influenced by these actors and actresses from the 80s and 90s, and I'm influenced by our first story, which is Doughnuts. Our first story tonight has Doughnuts, and that's maybe what caught my attention more than the ability to podcast here, but this is called Doughnuts and Downloads from the St. Louis Magazine. And Sweets by Sweetwaters in St. Louis is proof that live podcasting does not have to start in a fancy studio. It can start next to a donut counter. Owner Byron Waters built more than a sweet shop. He created a community hub with a rehearsal stage, event space, and podcast room where kids can record their own shows. That is powerful. Podcasting works best when it serves the local community first. You build the room, you invite people in, you give them a microphone, and suddenly you're not just selling donuts, you're building creators, building confidence, and building the future of live podcasting from the ground up. And this type of story is something that I relish in. I love seeing these kind of grassroots moments where they're putting something in. Maybe they don't know fully about podcast studios and podcast recording, but they have some sort of interest, some sort of love, and they also love donuts. And they put these two things together to support the community, let the kids come in after school, a safe place to hang out, record a couple episodes, and go home with a dozen.
Yeah, or baker's dozen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interesting part of the story is where the owner's father was like, "Donuts, you're never going to make it in donuts. You got to diversify," and so he opened up that podcast studio. So, which is smart. It's putting the power of audio in the kids' hands is a good idea. I mean, Saturday Night Live just a couple times now with Sabrina Carpenter has parodied a snack talking podcast by kids.
And we've seen a couple of these like kind of like creator studios slash something else, and more they're giving a place for people to come in, and there is a stage here as well. So these kids who are recording podcasts after school, there's an opportunity maybe on the weekend or Saturday mornings when the most amount of coffee and donuts are getting sold to possibly do a live show in the venue while people are coming in and have some sort of get together, some sort of gathering, some sort of reason to bring the community together. And you get this added benefit when you're teaching people how to be on a microphone, how to record and be comfortable. It's also a lifelong skill that these kids will have, and now they'll be able to perform that and give something back to the community along with donuts.
Yes. They'll be able to start a business and charge us $200 an hour to edit our podcasts, which we make 17 cents on. But yes, I mean, economically, it's got to make sense for someone. So yeah.
Yeah, so if you're out in St. Louis and Sweets by Sweetwaters, check it out. It's an interesting concept. It's not one I haven't seen one paired with donuts. I've seen other like arts and libraries and authors. I've seen them pair podcast studios together, but first time for everything. This one has donuts.
Donuts.
Let's go over to our second story tonight. We're going lab coats and live mics. The Story Collider is taking a podcast with about 1 million downloads a year and putting it on a stage in Pasadena. Scientists, comedians, firefighters, everyday people are sharing true stories about when life goes off the rails. That is what live podcasting is supposed to be like. It's not just information, it's emotion, it's tension, it's laughter in a room full of strangers who suddenly feel connected. When you take something that already works in the headphones and bring it to a live audience, you raise the stakes. You turn science into a story, and story is what fills the seats. Welcome to Story Collider. Another interesting concept. We've heard a lot about history podcasts getting traction. Science podcasts are also another big niche in podcasting that people are flocking to. There are types of podcasts that people didn't care so much about in high school. They didn't want to sit through a history lecture or a science lecture. But as we're getting older and learning in different ways, and these podcasters are telling us stories about things that they're passionate about, people are starting to respond to that better than just a general lecture in a classroom.
It's a good way to digest information. So, and you can listen to it at 2 speeds, so you can take twice as much in, twice as much learning, and twice the speed. So, I'd rather argue about whether just because they're standing up saying the same thing if it's a live podcast.
Well, if they record it and distribute it, but what we are seeing is it's so weird to see science and history as forms of entertainment. Yes, there's the History Channel and the
Hamilton.
Yeah, but these are things that weren't really on people's radar 20 years ago. And as we I don't know if we're getting away from books and reading like I am, but entertainment as part of education seems to be a route that more people are attracted to. People who want to learn about science and history or just had that little itch in the back of their in their back of their head, I guess. They are now learning about the things that they never really cared about because of the podcasts like this.
Yeah, it's a good medium to, you can get a little creative with it. And so it's, I think it's great. There's a couple that I've been toying with. So I was like, I'm excited. But yeah, I think it's great. I think sometimes those short form are really good, especially if you can just nail one topic really quick.
Yeah, we'll keep it moving right along. We'll go to a story about AI. Of course, we're going to AI. Everything this day and age in 2026 is AI related, and AI takes the stage. This comes to us from TPBN. Dylan Patel from Semi-Analysis joined TPBN live at Cisco AI Summit to talk about the future of AI, chips, power, and even data centers in space. This conversation happened on a stage at a real-world event. This is where big ideas belong. We are still underestimating how fast AI is changing everything, including how creators produce content. But here's the bigger lesson. The smartest voices in tech are not just publishing episodes. They're showing up live, capturing the energy of the room, and building authority in real time. In an AI driven world, the most valuable thing you can own is trust. And trust is built faster when you see it live. And so it's an AI Summit conference. They're recording AI related podcasts all throughout the conference. So this is an idea of getting your podcast in front of the audience where your audience is showing up. And I think it's one of the best strategies you can do when, no matter what you're interested in, what your podcast is about, there's probably an event or an industry you could show up at and piggyback off of the people who are already there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So this whole conversation, by the way, was created by AI. So nothing I'm saying right now, I'm reading off a teleprompter. Even saying I'm reading off a teleprompter was written by AI, and I'm reading it now, right now. It even told me to go,
the AI script I gave you said at moment 17 minutes pause and go
that way you know it's real.
Well, let's talk a little bit about hashtag Roundup. Is there any plans to implement some AI into hashtag Roundup?
Hashtag Roundup is kind of retired a bit. Stampede Social is where it's at right now. We do have AI. It's a creator-based tool, and we have AI that can help you respond to comments on Instagram using AI, and you pick your tone and theme, and it can read your captions and give you suggestions on how to respond to things in a very clever way, specifically like emojis, right? And then you can do comment analysis on your posts. You can do competitor analysis. You can see what they're up to by analyzing their comments. And then, we integrate a lot of AI, but sometimes I think I think a lot of people think of AI as, oh, I just need it to create a script for me, or I need it to come up with ideas for me, things like that. And that's not how I use AI myself. I use AI to build tools that I can use to make myself more productive.
Yeah, I apologize. I've known you for so long.
No, I mean, it used to be called
hashtag Roundup from memory on my paper, but Stampede Social is what we're looking for. That's the correct name of the company. I apologize for that.
No, it's okay. You're okay. So I mean, AI I think is a big deal, but I think if you want my 2 cents on AI, is you have to become a master of AI, and I don't mean a master of asking it for stuff that you would then parrot. I mean, you have to become a master of being able to create things and help it leverage you, do what you were already going to do better, and not be the lead, but you're a co-pilot. But I built an entire, when we're talking about podcasting, and this is specifically great for live news podcasts. Really, it's only good for if you're a news podcast that's live. But I created a whole tracking system, like how everything I do, and all the data I collect for guests and stuff like that. I created an entire app on my thing, and it tells me when the calendars are. I can put the release dates. It reminds me to do everything. And so I built it all with AI, and so and they just run it. So it's a great way to make. We're in a world right now where if you can think of something, you can create it. So if you have things that you're doing repeatedly, you can create those apps. You don't have to rely on, oh, well, Notion does it this way, so I have to do it that way. You can just build it however you want it.
Very nice. I usually tell people, if you're just getting into AI, if your prompts aren't as long as the output, you're probably relying on AI too much. Like you're letting it create too many things. You should have full thoughts and full direction, and it should enhance what you're doing and make you better at what you're doing. At least on the level, I'm not using it for coding or anything. I'm using it for creation and editing and animating things. But I always say, like, your prompt, you should have a really detailed, well thought out prompt before you take anything out of AI.
Yeah. That's true. And then, it's using the same AI over and over again, if it has memory, like Claude or ChatGPT has memory, it can start to, you can train it like, don't use M dashes, do this, do that. This is the type of tone I like. So you can train it to know certain things every time that you don't have to refeed it. If it's making you images, like I have a classic conversations GPT that I built. So I gave it all the colors that I use from, so I don't have to ever tell it that again. And then it can always just kind of do it that way. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's amazing. The amazing thing about AI is how fast we're all become addicted to it and reliant on it. That's the crazy thing. So
fast and scary all at the same time. We'll keep it going. Speaking of fast and scary, the 40-year-old sweet spot. It comes to us from Inside Radio. For years, advertisers chased the youngest podcast listeners, but the real opportunity might be 35 to 44-year-olds. New data shows they are more likely to remember ads and more likely to make a big buying decision. Insurance, home improvement, wireless, even executive level B2B decisions. And here's what jumped out to me. That same 35 to 44 demo is who shows up for live podcast events. They have careers, they have families, they have money. If you're building a live podcast business, you're not just building an audience, you're building access to the most valuable buyers in podcasting. That changes the math. And if you start thinking about larger comedians and actors who have podcasts, they're filling theaters and arenas now. But if you look at that audience, it's 35 to 54-year-old, couples a lot of times. It's the same demographic going to these. And that's something I noticed with selling tickets here for this theater. We're only a 40-seat theater, but the people who show up are 35 to 45 years old. I'm like people that I would have grown up with are showing up to these live podcasting events. So that demographic may have been overlooked at, or not even one that you think of as listening to podcasts. But this data from Inside Radio says otherwise.
I always thought it was 40 to 44. So I don't, my target audience is 45 to 65.
Well, you should be doing live shows and selling tickets.
I should be actually. Oh man. Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, I wish I had more stuff to sell them, I suppose.
Well, you do Crossing the Streams. That's a live streamed podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done it in a little bit, but yeah, we did it for many years, and then everyone kind of retired, and so but yeah, doing live is, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's like, because there's no editing, so it's like, you just go. And it's the thing I find most fascinating about live shows versus edited ones is people will accept different things from a live show than if they were watching something that was pre-recorded, edited, and then put out, right? Like, we could have a glitch right now and we could be funny trying to figure out, and people would watch that because they would think it was funny. But if you were to put that on a podcast, audio only version, people would be like, why the hell did he not edit this out? I don't need to hear this.
Well, let's keep it going right along. We're climbing towers. We're going to Climbing Live on the Rich Roll podcast. Alex Hanold, first podcast after free climbing, Taipei 101, happened live on the Rich Roll podcast, and more than 32,000 people have already watched it. Think about that. A historic moment followed immediately by a live stage conversation. That is powerful. The tension of climbing carried straight into the energy of the room. Live events let audiences process big moments together. They feel the risk, they feel the relief, and they feel connected to the person who just did something unbelievable. This is why live podcasting is so important. It turns interviewers into shared experiences, and shared experiences are what people remember. Like this type of event where they had this theater space, they pulled out 2 chairs, and they just had a one-on-one interview in front of a live audience right after this thing aired on Netflix, right after just ascending the top of a building. And that person, Alex, is still probably has adrenaline pumping through his veins, is still pumped up from accomplishing this feat. The live show probably got a nice check from the live stream from Netflix. And now he can sit down, take a minute, and tell the story of how it all came together.
There's something about, and I did stand-up comedy. So there's interesting when you do just your act or what would be considered like a normal show where things are just going normal, people enjoy it. They'll remember it. But when there's moments that are clearly specifically unique to that moment that, may not happen again, off the cuff comments, the vibe and the energy that you're describing with somebody just finishing something incredible. That doesn't happen very often. And I think that imprints on somebody a lot differently. And I think it, stays with them forever. Those are the stories people repeat. Oh my God, you're not going to believe what I did. Right. Or what I heard or what I saw or where I was. And, those are the cool things. That's like a live, when you go see like someone in concert or any kind of live experience, I think imprints a little differently.
One of the things I say about live podcasting, it's truly a once in a lifetime experience. You can only see that story be told one time. They can't take that tomorrow and go to Cleveland and do another recording of the same podcast. Where a little bit different than comedy, where you're working on a routine, you're trying to perfect 7, 15, half an hour, and the music the same way. You're going to go to a town, play the same 15 songs, and then go to the next town and do that. But with podcasting, like you and I can't do this show again tomorrow, right? It's already been, these 6 stories are spent. Where no one's going to come and see us.
I don't know. I think we could dig in. I think a lot here.
We'll take it on the road. But it is only going to happen tonight, and that's it. It's the once in a lifetime opportunity to see a podcast recorded live, and most of the time it's not going to happen again. And that's what I think what makes live podcasting so special.
Yeah, I can concur. This will never happen again. No, I'm just kidding.
He's never coming back.
No, This is it. No, I'm kidding. I'm upset it took you this long to have me. No, I'm kidding.
We're building hype.
We're building hype. You're right. I mean, anytime you watch something, you have, anytime you have some unique kind of thing where, like when I go to going to Comic-Cons and they have like the panels, and the people, depending on what questions are asked or how things go, it's, just like nobody's gonna ever have that again. You know what I mean? They may answer the same some of the questions or stories. Some of the stories may be the same, but there's always some question that gets asked or something that happens, or that just kind of alters it or makes it unique for that moment.
Yeah, and that's a great segue for our last story because it's at a comedy club. It's actors and artists talking about artists on artist on artist. So this is a show business, but live. Artist on artist on artist on artist is taking their podcast live at Dynasty Typewriter in Los Angeles, and this one checks all the boxes: big comedy names, audience suggestions, industry gossip, and here's the key part: they're selling both in-person tickets and a live stream. $25 to be in the room, $20 to watch from anywhere. This is the future model of podcasting. You monetize the stage and the stream at the same time. You create urgency with a live show, but you do not cap your audience at the door. This is what modern podcasting looks like when creators treat it like show business. Oh, business. And this is a playbook, page right out of my playbook where I have a virtual stage. I have 40 chairs in front of me, and we're surrounded by cameras that we can broadcast this out like we're doing now. So you could watch this show if you wanted to. Come see me on a Tuesday night, hang out, watch the show. You could watch it from your living room. But this is where I think the model of podcasting is going to go, where these types of events give you more access to local people, virtual people, and you're sharing the story all in real time. You're getting the recording and then releasing that as your podcast.
It's creating an experience is amazing. It's just there's a lot of overhead that goes into it, right? I wish there was an easier way to do it, just because I enjoy the flexibility. Or someone cancels, at the last second, that kind of thing. It doesn't matter for me with my podcast, but it's one of those things where hope people show up. It's a whole different energy, a whole different vibe. So, but yeah, I know it is great. It'd be cool to be able to do so. If I had the following, could do that once a month, and know somebody could do that, pull it in, that'd be good. I'd like that. Let's do that, Jeff.
It's a lot of fun.
We're going to do this once a month. Come back to the Jeff and Jeff, the only live news show with two Jeffs.
Two Jeffs talking about live podcasting live at the Harrison on Corbet Podcast Theater. This has been Poduty in the News. But before we go, I turn the stage over to Jeff one last time. Plug, promote, talk about anything you like. Jeff, the floor is yours.
Poduty? You call yourself? I thought it was Poduty. Pod. I don't know if that. Yeah. All right, we're gonna rebrand, and then classic conversations. JeffIsFunny.com. That's the easy URL for that podcast website. You can get to all the links there. Stampede.social if you're a creator and want to help drive attribution and automation on Instagram and Facebook. Check out Stampede.social. That's it. Back to Poduty.
Back to Poduty, live on the stage. There's the theater space that we're talking about. We got a whole place. We have HDMI access. You could run any type of show that you want on the stage. There's no contract, no minimum ticket sales. I'll record it, sell the tickets for you, and split the door with you 50-50 at the end of the night. Check it out at poduty.com, Poduty.com. This has been Poduty in the News. Look for the rebrand next week.
What time is it? What time is it?